Branded Despia is the new top tier deck. I'm going to show you the best way to play the deck. We're going to be analyzing all the deck lists that have been winning tournaments. Let's go. If you'd like to win $100, just like, subscribe, comment on this video, hit the notification bell. Also go to my twitch.tv/Dkayed, click follow, and you will be entered in the giveaway. We have a $1,000 meta qualifier tournament where Branded Despia is going to dominate it better. Hajime. Branded Fusion is a one card combo play that allows you to summon the ultimate Mirror Jade. Mirror Jade gives you insane follow-up, non-targeting banishment, and also it's going to lead into summoning Chimera during your opponent's turn to pop multiple cards, draw multiple cards. Essentially, this is a one-card, double non-targeting disruption plus draw and follow-up. If you want to learn the one-card combos, I have a one-card combo, ultimate combo video guide. Make sure you watch that video. Starting off with the first deck list we have to look at is the first place Nationals Denmark Junda Zhang. Now, at the end of this, I'm going to show you a good best way to play this deck. Starting off right here, we have the Adventure Engine, which I will tell you not many people are playing. In the TCG, they have 3 Rite of Erismere, 3 Water Enchantress, but despite that, still only playing 2 Rite of Erismere and 3 Water Enchantress. There is a big confliction with this, and that is when summoning the Alberta Search, you cannot use the Rite of Erismere on the same turn. Also, you're not going to be able to normal summon Albaz activate, which is a much rarer play, but it could still be something that could conflict with your Rite of Erismere. For this deck list, the Branded Exile is not available, so do not worry about that. We also do not have the Abyssal Dragon Alba. Now on to first place YCS Pagoda from Chris Lofton. It's important to note in the TCG that they do not have Max C. Because we have Max C, that makes Ash Blossom even better than she is. Now let's look for anything that's non-standard in this deck. I'm not going to be focusing on tech cards like Triple Tactics Talent nor the Ghost Bell. You could use that if you want. What we should look at from the previous deck list compared to this one is, look at that, Tri-Brigade Mercurier. This is a very good card. This card will be discarded to negate a monster effect. And to search this card, you're going to be playing a card like Branded Lost. So when you perform your fusion summon, you get to search for the Mercurier, which will now be able to monster negate on top of your disruptions you have. What's also good about the Tri-Brigade is you could send the Brygrand to the graveyard with the effect of the Mirror Jade, and now during the end phase, you could search for your Tri-Brigade disruption monster negate. Now we have the Albion Shrouded Dragon. Some people are playing this, some are not playing this. This could be a pretty good search if you're not searching the Tri-Brigade with the effect of the Branded Lost. What this card will do is it's essentially an Upstart Goblin. You could draw 1 card by sending a branded card from your deck to the graveyard. You can also send a Fallen Albaz from the deck to the graveyard. You could send a branded opening from your deck to the graveyard, and now your fusion is going to be protected from card effect destruction. There are some other combos with branded traps you could send from the deck to the grave, but he was not playing it in this deck list. Now we have Dramaturge. Not everyone's going to be playing this. If you use this for a fusion summon, it summons itself onto the field, so it's kind of like Ad Libitum. Ad Libitum summons the fusion back, the Dramaturge summons itself. And at 3000 attack, if a fusion synchro exceeder link is special summoned, it's important that I say that not just from the extra deck. This is not being redundant, I promise, because when you summon your fusion from your graveyard, that's not from the extra deck, that's not a fusion summon, yet that will also trigger the effect of Dramaturge to negate any monster on the field. So your own fusion summon or special summon of a fusion, or your opponent summoning an extra deck monster, you now get to negate any monster on the field. And then we have the Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial, what's very good about this, generally the most used way is going to be using it to send a tragedy from the deck to the graveyard, activate, search for your Alibur. Now you're getting your combo started. Now compared to the Adventure Engine, this is the Patchwork Engine. Right, for Patchwork, the Edge Imp Chain and the Polymerization, all 3 of those cards are connected. So you could discard this with your Lubellion, and that will trigger its effect to search for the Fright for Patchwork. Fright for Patchwork will search for Polymerization and an Edge Imp Chain. What's very good about Polymerization is it allows you to make more plays on both the first and second turn. If you go in second, it's going to allow you to potentially whip out a Chimera. It will also make your Chimera untargetable. If you go in first, you could potentially make a Dragostapelia to negate a monster, or even set up much more easily compared to the Adventure deck, set up Masquerades on your very first turn to burn your opponent to death. Now we have Branded Lost. This card is very, very interesting. We already talked about how you could fusion summon with this on the field as a continuous spell to search for a card like the the Tri-Brigade monster negate, but the other effect is your fusion summons cannot be negated. The activation cannot be negated. Now, the effect of your branded fusion could still be negated by a card like Ash Blossom. So if you look carefully at the branded loss, let's open it up here. Just the activation of your cards and effects that include the effect of fusion cannot be negated. Now, your opponent also cannot activate cards in response to your fusion summon. That is incredible. So when you summon your big fusions like your Mirror Jade or your Lubellion now cannot be impermanence, cannot be veilered, cannot be responded to. Another cool combo with the branded lost is with priority on the summon of Mirror Jade, you could activate your quick effect of Mirror Jade in response to its own summon to banish a monster on the field, and your branded loss is going to ensure that it cannot be responded to in any way whatsoever. The branded lost is searchable with the Alubur, and there's multiple ways to recycle Alubur and get to Alubur. Now, a small little ruling that you might mess up is you have to make sure that the last thing that happens is a fusion summon. So if you put Lubellion on Chainlink 2 or higher, and Chainlink 1 is not a fusion summon, when the Lubellion summons the Mirror Jade, your Mirror Jade can now be responded to, and you do not want that to happen. So try to, with your fusion spell cards, put them on Chainlink 1. Same thing with Brandon Red. If you respond with Brandon Red in response to another card, maybe your opponent activates something, you Chainlink to the Brandon Red, your newly fusion monster is not going to get protected by Branded Lost. Now on to second place Italy National Championship, Marco Perenzi. What we can notice with this deck that's different from the others is Allure of Darkness. Allure of Darkness has good synergy with the Tragedy. Tragedy on Banish, you get to search for your Alubur, or if sent to the graveyard by card effect. And also because you're playing the Edge Imp Chain engine, the Allure of Darkness is more consistent. Now, another big thing about this deck is the Fairy Tale Snow. This is a very big deal. Fairy Tale Snow is absolutely insane. Quick effect, banish 7 cards from your hand, field, or grave to summon itself, and then flip a card on the field face down, your opponent's monster. Now, how you get this in the graveyard is with your branded fusion, you could, instead of summoning a Lubellion, which would be a dark monster plus Fallen Albaz, you could instead summon Albion the Branded Dragon. That's going to be a light monster plus the Fallen Albaz. Then on summon, it will still be able to summon your Mirror Jade. It also does not require you to discard. It's going to banish your Fallen Albaz, banishing itself also to summon Mirror Jade. But now you have a Fairy Tale Snow in the graveyard. Now you might be thinking, how come everyone doesn't do that? Well, the other play with Lubellion triggers the Tragedy. The Lubellion also will be returning the cards back into the deck. The Lubellion will also ensure that you're going to have likely a Despia card in the graveyard to use with your branded in red. So that is a downside. If you send the Fairy Tale Snow to the graveyard, you're likely going to have a dead branded in red. Another big change compared to the other decks is Super Polymerization. Your opponent cannot respond to this. You discard, you fuse with the field, not your hand, and it's including your opponent's field. So this is going to be very good for additional attacking in the battle phase. It's going to be very good because you look at cards like Lubellion, just requires a dark monster. So Albaz plus your opponent's dark monster. Mirror Jade, Albaz plus an extra deck monster, use your opponent's extra deck monster. 2 dark monsters in the field to summon a Starving Venom. We have a light or dark monster plus a Despia monster, very easily summoned. We have, again, light or dark plus Despia, light plus Fallen Albaz, level 8 or higher plus Fallen Albaz, or just a dark monster plus your fusion. You have many uses with your Super Poly, and especially for the mirror match, this is going to be nuts. Now we have first place YCS Guadalajara from Andres Torres. What is different here? We have Despian Comedy. This Despia card is going to be able to negate anything that targets one of your face-up Despia cards. Discard this from the hand, they are now negated. Another good benefit of this is while in the graveyard, you could tribute your fusion monster to summon this from the grave. So why would that be good? If any of your cards get targeted for negation like an impermanence or an effect veiler, you could then chain the Comedy to then tribute over the Lubellion, for example, to ensure that you do not lose out to an impermanence. Otherwise, if your opponent has impermanence, they save it for the Lubellion, you do not have the Comedy in the graveyard to dodge the impermanence, your whole combo could stop right then and there, where instead the Comedy is going to ensure that you get Mirror Jade on the field. Now, the Incredible Ecclesia will allow you to special summon Fallen Albaz from your deck, and it does not even take up your normal summon. So you're going to be able to special summon Ecclesia, special Fallen Albaz, make a turn 2 disrupting play. So if you like turn 2, the Incredible Ecclesia is incredible, because then then you could follow up normal summon Albion. Now we have the Springen's Kit. If you have a fusion monster that lists Fallen Albaz, which is most of your fusions, you could special summon this from your hand. It's essentially a second Albion. If you're ever thinking with Albion, I wish I could activate this more than once, well, you could do so with Kit, and this will be special summoned onto the field. It's not as good as Albion because you do have to then place a card from your hand to the bottom of your deck, but otherwise it allows you to additionally search, which could be very good for getting that branded Lost on top of your standard combo, adding a branded opening to it, or just searching branded in red, or even branded fusion. Another interesting card is the Gold Sark. Gold Sark, you're going to banish Tragedy, search for Albion. Gold Sark could banish the Tri-Brigade. On banish, you can now add a Fallen Albaz or a monster that mentions it from your deck to your hand. Now we have first place South Australia State Championship John Kim. The decks are starting to look quite similar. Now, of course, we do not have the branded banishment, but there is still something interesting here, which is the Despia Theater of the Branded. This is a non-stop, once per turn, every single turn. It's your Polymerization, and it is searchable. And also it has the effect if your non-fusion fairy leaves the field, you can now target your level 8 or higher fusion in your graveyard, not banished, to then special summon it. So this could be a really good way to recycle your fusions, get them back on the field. It is not a fusion summon, it just special summons them back, and then you got that recycling. Now I'm going to mention this right now. You have a card like Necroworld Banshee and the Zombie World, which absolutely decimates a deck like Fluandereeze. So if you want to be spicy, since there's no side deck, you are going to have to main deck this. You could main deck your Necroworld Banshee, and instead of sending Tragedy from your deck to the graveyard, you send Banshee. So now your branded fusion essentially searches for your Zombie World, turning all of your opponent's monsters into zombies and completely messing up the Fluandereeze strategy. Now it's worth noting, if you want to play Nibiru in your deck, there is a one-turn kill combo with your Albion. You normal summon Albion, you search for the branded fusion, you branded fuse, sending the Nibiru plus the Albaz from your deck to the graveyard. That's going to be summoning Albion the Branded Dragon, which will activate to then banish the Albaz and the Nibiru you sent from the deck to the graveyard to then summon a Titanclad. Titanclad's going to gain the combined original levels, which is going to make it 4,000 attack, and everything can attack. So that's 4,000 Titanclad, that's half their life, and then the other half of their life is going to be 2,500 plus your 1,800, which is another 4,000 damage. On to the next deck list, we have First Nationals Finland, Otta Gran. Is there anything interesting or different about this deck compared to the other ones? No, there is not. It is all standard. You see how it's all coming together? Let's move on to the next one. We have first place Austria National Champion Peter Mullner. Anything different? Nope. We already talked about Gold Sark, Super Poly, Branded Lost. The other cards, yup, all looking standard, standard on standard. And then we have the final deck list we're going to look at. First place Columbia National. You see all these first places? You see how good this deck's going to be? Look at this. It's looking very similar to everything we already talked about. Nothing too crazy, nothing too different. Now, I'm combining all of these decks into one, and I'm deciding that I think that the non-adventure deck is going to be probably the better way to play. We're not sure though. The adventure could be a good way and possibly maybe the best way, but based off all of this against a format where they had 3 of each and they're still not playing it, I'm going to combine all the non-adventure versions to give you a base build. Boom. This is the base build, the best branded Despia base deck. You could, before going up to 40 cards with other cards, bump up your Fallen Albaz to 3. Some played 3. You could bump up your Fright for Patrick to 3. You could bump up the Branded in Red to 3. Those are all cards to definitely consider bumping up to 3 before adding anything else that you want to add to spice up the deck. Now, why aren't they at 3 to begin with? Because a lot of the decks just played them at 2. That is it for the video. Thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Make sure you enter the giveaway. This is the $100 giveaway. Like, subscribe, and comment. Make sure you go to my Twitch channel to follow, and you'll be entered in the giveaway where we're going to have a $1,000 meta tournament qualifier this Sunday. Let's go.